What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is up? How are y'all doing today, guys? It is Wednesday. Y'all know what that means. That means we about to talk about Ahsoka episode 3, 4, and 5 today. I do apologize because we got to do this big old recap because I took a little time off. You know, some of y'all already know I was out in them fantasy streets, so I had to, take my time off. But we back. And for those of you that are just joining us, welcome. My name is Emmanuel Eman Noizette. I will be your host as we talk about, once again, episode 3, 4, and 5 of Ahsoka, because woo, so much to talk about. Let me tell you something. I've told y'all right now from the jump, the other half of the money team, Dave Filoni, y'all better let that man cook. Y'all better let that man do whatever he wants to do in Star Wars because this is his world and we just living in it at this point. But my goodness. All right. So guys, just for those that don't know, we are going to talk about all 3 episodes. So if for whatever reason you have not watched Ahsoka, we're like knee deep into the whole series. So I don't know why you watching if you have not even watched an episode. So just a heads up, we are going to spoil it. So spoiler alert. But yes, once we go through each episode, at the end of every episode, we are going to give our ratings, what we thought about it. And yeah, that's how we're gonna go. So and then of course, we'll if you guys have questions, feel free to ask, or we could talk about different theories. I'll share obviously my thoughts and everything. And by the way, if you do want to chime in, it's not hard. Matter of fact, it's free. All you got to do is be a subscriber. So subscribe to the channel. And you too can join one of the best and livest of live chats on all of YouTube. And yeah, it's that simple. So speaking of which, I got to see who is joining us tonight. So let's see here. We got my man Dexter Reason. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. My man Terrence is back. Thank you so much for joining. Always a pleasure. Joy is back. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. We got the Mod Squad in the building with Kristen Pratt. Thank you so much. And of course, make sure you get those likes up if you like what you see. If you don't, don't hit the dislike. I don't even know if that's still around, but just go ahead and hit the like just in case. Let's see. We got my man Didier. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for being here. Darth, thank you so much for being here. Love the name. Come on now. We wouldn't have it live without Ms. Harper. Yes. What is up? Thank you so much for being here as well. Treese, I see you. Thank you so much. Tasha, what is up? How are you? Daniel, thank you so much for being here. Who else we got? I know we got some latecomers, and that's all good. Shout out to the replay gang, by the way. My man Corey, what is up? How are you? Theo, what is up? Thank you so much for being here. Nelson, my man, what's up? Cal Payne, how you doing? Eric, what's going on? Philroy, how you doing? Listen, right now, so far, Ahsoka's doing the work. So far, now I don't like to really judge everything. I like to see how do you stick the landing? How are you going to wrap up the last episode? So right now, it's on a good path to being one of the better series right now, but we'll see. We will see. Android, what's going on? Thank you so much for being here. Nicole, how you doing? Appreciate you. Oh, so me, how are you? Nerdy Nurse, what is up? How are you? Kristen, what's up? Mike, how you doing? Who else we got? Zachary, what is up? How are you? T-Ville, what's going on, homie? Shelly, hello. Intellectual humor, hello. Oh, that is dope. I am so happy that you are a new Star Wars fan. And this is listen, first of all, I have to give this announcement almost every single time. But if you are new to Star Wars, if you are trying to fully understand and to fully appreciate why Star Wars is one of those beloved franchises, I'm not going to tell you to watch the movies. You can, and most times, yeah, it'll help, but you should be watching the animated Clone Wars series and Rebels. That's what all the stuff in Ahsoka keeps on calling back to. everything. We're going to talk about that a lot. You're going to hear me say that a lot because Clone Wars, the animated series, and Rebels is crucial, not just to Ahsoka, okay? The Clone Wars series and Rebels is essential for the entire path forward in Star Wars. Dave Filoni, the other half of the money team next to Jon Favreau, they are using the Clone Wars and Rebels as the foundation to really solidify everything else. In the past, it used to be the movies. The movies used to be the foundation. And for some people, it still is. But for someone like me who came in late into the game, I watched the movies after the fact. It didn't really make me a huge fan, but man, when I watched that series, everything made sense. The politics, the wars, the fights, the character development, everything makes sense. So, if you are new to Star Wars, I highly recommend start watching Clone Wars and start watching Rebels. Ahsoka is giving you some nice little callbacks, but I'm telling you, it's gonna make more sense. I can only do so much in recapping some things, but it's gonna make more sense if you go back, and it'll be worth your time. All right, that's my little. I have to give that because a friend of mine was actually I was talking to a friend of mine and he was like, oh, I didn't watch all the Rebels and blah blah blah, and he was like, well, do I need to watch everything to understand Ahsoka? And I was like, jumping into Ahsoka fresh is kind of like if you were to watch, I don't know, Agents of Shield for the first time, but you never watched you didn't watch Iron Man, you didn't watch Captain America, you didn't watch, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, well, if you don't watch any of those, Agents of Shield is just gonna be like, what's this? Like, sure, you'll get some stuff, but you gotta have the build up, But anyway, that's just my little thing right there. Fighting Evil, thank you so much for being here. Andrew, how you doing? Wait, there we go. My man Johnny Washington, what is up, sir? Steven, how are you? There we go. That's my secret guru right there. My man Brendan, what is going on, sir? Thank you so much. Brendan gonna be here to correct me if I say or do anything completely wrong. So that's the what they call the fact checkers. That's the Star Wars fact checker right there. What's going on, sir? Let's see. Oh boy, we got trouble. We got Mara Sharice with the Mod Squad. Mar, how many episodes have you seen? Please just let me know how many episodes you've watched. I know you said something like you was gonna maybe start watching episode 5. I don't know why you would start in the middle of a series like that, but let me know what episodes you have seen so far. I'm just curious. Let's see. Who else do we have? I think that's everybody so far. But anyway, all right. Oh Lord. You said 1.5. Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right, guys. So we are going to start off with episode 3 because again, I was off. So the least I can do is start from episode 3 and build ourselves up to episode 5. I know we want to talk about episode 5, and yes, we will. And I have lots of thoughts. So just be patient. I'm gonna hurry up and get to it. Because first of all, let me just say, episode 3, that, if we being real, that felt like real filler. Okay, episode 3, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying it was like a straight up filler episode. Matter of fact, I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't combine episode 3 and 4 together. Like that could have been an awesome type of segment to build up the hype for episode 5, but whatever. But anyway, let's kind of go through the episode and talk about what happened. So we kick it off here. We see Sabine is training with Hu Yang, and Ahsoka is, like basically saying like, yo, like you a little too stiff. You doing things all wrong. You got to open yourself up to the Force. And that's where she busts out the old school Jedi training, helmet. I mean, there was a callback. This is a callback to even when Luke used this in A New Hope. Basically, this is a new way for this is not a new way, but it's a way for Ahsoka to really help Sabine learn the ways of the Jedi and to learn to basically feel everything around her. This might even help her tap into the Force a little bit more. However, in true Mandalorian form, her anger kind of unbalances her, and this is something that Sabine has just really got to work on. She's not cool, calm, and collected. She wants to react. And it's just kind of like part of her upbringing, I think, anyway. But then we fast forward, we see that General Syndulla or Hera, she's meeting with some of the senators, and she's telling them about the infiltration that happened in the facility, if y'all recall from episode 2. So we had all those employees that were working at that facility, and a lot of them were really undercover Empire agents, right? And for whatever reason, the senators still were just in disbelief that this could happen, because they were like, yo, the Empire's gone, we're done with that. But Syndulla was like, yo, like Thrawn could be coming back. But then, of course, we got Senator Hamato. He is so tired of her mess because apparently Hera has been using up the resources to find Ezra for a long time now. So every time she comes up, and keep in mind, Ezra's been gone for some time. So you have to understand, at least on his side, that they kind of tired of her mess. They like, yo, like every day it's, yeah, we got to go find Ezra, blah, blah, blah. And, it's getting a little tough, even for Mon Mothma, it's a little tough to kind of like defend this. But at the same time, Hera got all this street cred because she's like, yo, like I helped save the whole universe. I helped take the Empire down. So it's this back and forth with her and Senator Hamada. And it was funny because like she actually even called him out and was just kind of like, hey, have you actually been in the war? Like, have you actually done anything? Or have you just been sitting around waiting to see who was going to be the winner? And you saw all that salt. You see all that salt all on his face. Yeah, that was fun. She saw the salt too. She was like, hey, don't kill him that bad. Stop it now. Stop it. Turn down the smoke. Okay. You see, he's already defeated. But either way, Hera is obviously not going to give up. And this is one of those things that's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, yes, she does want to find Ezra, but at the same time, she also doesn't want Thrawn to come back, because if Thrawn comes back, it's all hell gonna be loose. Like Thrawn is a problem. And for those of you that don't know, Thrawn is probably one of the greatest strategic minds in the galaxy. Like this dude, he does not play regular chess. He plays four-dimensional chess. Like he's 15 steps ahead of folks. So if you thought Darth Vader and Palpatine was sneaky and powerful, listen, Thrawn could mess everything up. So you don't want him coming back. And that's why he is such a threat. But once again, it's kind of like, yo, do you want Thrawn back? But then you kind of want to get Ezra back. It's a little bit of a conflict of interest, even though they have good intentions. But as we move forward, you also see here, you also see Jace for the first time, and Chopper. Shout out to Chopper. But we finally get to see Jace. And for those of you that don't know, he is basically Hera's son, who is also the son of Kanan. And if you don't know who Kanan is a Jedi that we also got to meet in Rebels. And yes, once again, you need to watch Rebels to understand. But yes, he is the son of both of them. And so my man got a little force sensibilities, being the son of a Jedi and all that. But it was pretty cool to finally be introduced to the live action version of him. And of course, you could see he got the green hair. Now, I don't know how the genetics work. Y'all see what Hera looked like, okay? And Kanan was human-ish. So I don't know how you get from that to this. Like just the green hair? Like I don't listen. I I don't know if there's going to be some book out there that will let people know how exactly that biology works. I'm saying, wouldn't he have like some tentacle things in his head or something? Something I don't know, but either way, we got Jace, and that's fine with me. Now we go back to the ship. Sabine is frustrated with not being able to use the Force. But Ahsoka's like, yo, like, yes, some people got to have that talent and be born with it, but it's nothing compared to having just that good old training and focus and all that can help. In other words, hard work, and starting small, can definitely be a way to like get better with the Force. And this is kind of interesting because, and maybe some people can correct me if I'm wrong, but the prequels, with Qui-Gon and all that, that whole midichlorian thing and all that, it kind of gave the impression that if you wasn't born with like all these, midichlorians inside your system, you just couldn't tap into the Force. But it seems as though maybe they're kind of retconning that just a little bit by saying, well, actually, if you just work real hard, because the Force lives in everyone, maybe everyone can kind of tap into it one way or another. I don't know. It sounds like some participation, feel good type of speech, but it could be true. It could be. I don't know. We'll see. Um, but as they move forward, you also see Huang, the android, is telling Ahsoka like, yo, like, why are you even messing with Sabine like this? She ain't got no Force abilities, and she does not fall into the stereotypical mold of a Jedi candidate. But Ahsoka said that she doesn't need her to be a Jedi. She just wants her to be herself. But the android is like, yo, you know, there haven't been a lot of Mandalorians who have become Jedi, out there, but there was I guess the biggest exception was Vizsla, who he was the one that was a Mandalorian and a Jedi, and he was the one that wielded the dark saber for the first time. So we have had that combination in the past, but it's just not easy to do. And I think, my theory is that it's probably because, Jedi are kind of raised, in a way that their training is like, yo, you got to have no emotion, you got to have no attachments and stuff like that. Whereas we've seen in the Mandalorian, the Mandalorian kids, they are raised to be warriors, right? Like if they get angry, they get angry, like whatever. Like as long as you focus on your mission, that's what it is. So I think because of the fact that they focus on different things, one being detachment, the other one being a warrior, and yo, if you get angry, you get angry. I think that's why it's so difficult to bring both the Mandalorian and the Jedi together in terms of their training. So this is probably going to be a stumbling block for Sabine until she can learn how to balance that out one way or another. But Huang did mention that, like, yo, Ahsoka, you've come from a long line of untraditional Jedi yourself, which is true. She came from Yoda, who taught Qui-Gon, who taught Obi-Wan, who taught Anakin. So we already saw, what was it, in the first or second episode, Ahsoka, her hands ain't all that clean. She don't go by the book. When she got the information from Morgan or whatever, like she was like, yeah, I didn't follow Jedi protocol. So, Ahsoka, she might be flirting. I'm not gonna say the dark side, but I'm just saying she be bending the rules a little bit, just a little bit. So having an apprentice like Sabine, or I'm sorry, Padawan, is not that unconventional for, it's not that unreasonable because she's untraditional too, or non-traditional. But we also see here Sabine trying to use the Force. She's trying real hard. She's seeing the cup, she's trying to move the cup, and just I like how they kind of zoomed in on this, but then the cup was like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. It's no, sorry, not gonna happen. But while we let's take a break here and grab these questions real quick. Christopher, what you got? Whomever doing the score for these series is on fire. Jace has the chance to become a top-notch Jedi because the Force is strong with this kid. Totally agree with you. I don't know. I don't know who's doing the score, but I totally agree with you. The scores are definitely great, especially in episode 5. I mean, we'll get to that later, but the way that they blended a lot of the stuff with episode 5 and kind of had the hints of the score that they used in Revenge of the Sith and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thematically, just perfect. And that's always been a hallmark for Star Wars is finding that nice way. Shout out to John Williams, but like finding that nice way to take a score and really just impact the scene, impact the moment, impact the characters. And I think in that sense, it would always connect us to whatever was going on at the time. So yeah, good point on that. And yeah, I do believe that Jason, I mean, come on now, like Buddy's got the Force in him clearly. And I'm gonna talk about that in episode 5. Because I got one little beef. I got one little beef with that, but I think you're absolutely right. Jay, what you got? Thank you so much. Question: I was just wondering why they have dropped all these Marvel movies and they have only dropped one Hulk movie and not even one with his current actor, and this Hulk is a big character. So I'll go ahead and entertain this now, but let's try and keep this on Ahsoka for now, and save all the other questions for later because I don't want to waste people's time. But the main reason is because they haven't had the rights. They didn't have the rights for the Hulk, so they couldn't do a standalone movie. I believe it was owned by Universal, but those rights supposedly have reverted. So rumor is that they are going to finally have a Hulk movie, and maybe they'll actually redeem him. But we'll wait and have to see if that happens. But thank you so much for that. All right, let's move on. Okay, so what happened? Yes, so the couple's like, nah, we ain't moving today. Now Hera comes back in and tells them that, yo, sorry, the Senate, they coming up short. They not gonna get any help. So they just gonna have to be on their own as they're tracking down the enemy. However, the enemy looks like they found them, and Sabine and Ahsoka basically have to get ready to deal with them. And this is probably where we get like, good old school Star Wars battles, and I like this, right? You get in the ship, you get in that position to start shooting. You see Ahsoka's like, driving at the same time. And in order, I think what worked about this scene was that you had both of them on different ends. And like this whole episode, I think, is pretty much about how the master and the student just have to learn how to work together. And if they can learn to work together, this is when they're at their best, And Ahsoka, which happens with any type of teacher or master, sometimes you have to like let go a little bit. Maybe your student doesn't want to go by the book. Maybe your student wants to do things a little unconventionally. And as a teacher, sometimes you got to recognize that and go with the flow. And it took a little time, but Ahsoka finally realized, okay, Sabine, what do you need? All right, you need me to do this, go here, dodge left, go right, fine. And that was the way that they were able to like actually combat against the enemy, because they both realized like, okay, that's your strength, this is my strength. All right, cool. Now, as they were going along and fighting the enemy, they start to find out that there's a hyperspace ring that has now been constructed, and they have to fight and get closer and closer to the object in order to get a full scan of it and really find out what's going on. And of course, Morgan is like trying to take them down along the way. Unfortunately, the ship does get shot in this process, and while they're pretty much hanging there in the middle of space, Ahsoka gets out of the ship so she can defend it. And I don't know why they kept shooting at Ahsoka, because I'm like, why would y'all shoot at the Jedi that can deflect all the stuff rather than just, I don't know, shooting the other part of the ship? But anyway, all the non-important Jedi enemies, they get destroyed and stuff like that. Sabine does end up getting the ship back working, and they go ahead and pick Ahsoka back up. But I like that sequence. I thought it was pretty cool, at least visually or whatnot. They do go and land on the planet. And as they're landing, they can find some of the space, the Purgle, those space whales, and they get to get lower on the planet. They end up finding a place to land and hide from the enemy. While they're there, they do find out that the hyperspace ring is not complete yet, so they still do have time to stop them in their tracks. And of course, Balin, he's like, yo, go hunt them Jedi down and take them out. And that's where this episode ends. Okay, so we've made it through episode 3. So while I think about this, since y'all already saw this anyway, y'all let me know, what is your rating for episode 3 on a scale from 0 to 10. Let me know in the comments. While you guys are doing that, I'll give you my thoughts. So, I definitely liked the fact that we got the old school space battle. I thought the space battle was pretty good. I like the whole back and forth with the chase scene. But and thematically, I like the idea of the master and the apprentice and how they have to learn how to work together and all that. But at the end of the day, and I think maybe correct me if I'm wrong, I think this was like one of the shortest episodes. This felt like such a filler episode. I was just kind of like, I mean, I like the shooting and stuff, but that's it. Like no more like actual story. So, um good chase scenes, decent episode, but it was definitely fillerish. So I think for episode 3, I'm gonna have to give it a 7. Like it was fine, but it wasn't like y'all didn't do nothing. It didn't feel like y'all did very much, with this episode. And when I say that, I mean in terms of I gotta wait a whole week after this. That that left me a little unsatisfied. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. But I want to see where some of y'all fell with it. Let's see, we got a 6.5, 7.5, 6, 8, 6.7, 7.5, 7, 7.8, 7, 5, 6, 8, 0.32. We gonna strike that from the record though. I don't even think this is the episode you saw. So I chose 1.5. I don't think you saw this one. I'm gonna just go with that. But 8, 7, 5.5, 8, 7.5, 8, 6.5, 7.5, 7.5, 8, and a 5. Okay. Oh, we got a 9. Okay, cool, cool, cool. But look, I mean, again, this was just one of those things. I felt like it was fillerish. It was kind of a setup, but like it was what it was, right? Now let's move on to we're gonna get to episode 4. And let's see, let me get that. Where is it? There we go. Episode 4. Okay. So now, episode 4. Now listen. This is when things started getting juicy. Okay. This right here, I was like, okay. Like by the time we got to the end of this, I was like, yo, we cooking. We doing something. So let's get into episode 4 real quick and talk about what happened here. So of course, while repairing the ship, Ahsoka, this was a lot of foreshadowing, but she was saying that, like, yo, we might face a lot of difficult choices, that if they can't make it to Ezra, then nobody should. The second she said that, you already saw Sabine's face. Okay, now Sabine said that it's not gonna come to that. They're gonna do what they gotta do, but I'm saying her face is looking mighty suspect. Okay, it's looking mighty suspect. And Ahsoka was like, look, it's better not to have Thrawn back than it is to find Ezra. Okay. And she asked her straight up, can I count on you? Look at his face. Look at his face. You think that's a face of someone you could trust? Hold on, let's go back to the other face. You think that's a face of somebody you can trust? Whoo, yeah, okay, yeah, not so much. And then, of course, while they talking, we got the evil droids just sitting there, waiting on them. And Balin is like, "Well, now that we know where they at, go ahead and go get them." But I do want to talk about this real quick with the foreshadowing. This kind of goes back, I believe, with what Ahsoka was saying. She's feeling this impending doom. She's, getting that little forced premonition that, like, ooh, this decision, something is gonna happen, but whatever it is, we got to stop Thrawn. Now, that's a Jedi thinking, right? That's a Jedi thinking about the main objective and being like, whatever happens, Thrawn cannot come back. But that's part of her detachment. Now, granted, she does not have the same emotional attachment that Sabine has with Ezra. Now, I know Sabine got thrown into the sister zone. Now, I don't know if that's the way she feels, or maybe she feel a little extra something for Ezra. I don't know. But either way, Sabine obviously really, 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 really misses Ezra. And that is making her judgment be like, look, I know you say Thrawn is the problem, but I want to see Ezra again. I want Ezra back, So this is obviously, as we already know, this is it's going to play a part, and this kind of is the whole reason why Jedi do the no more attachment thing, because if you get attached to somebody, it opens up the possibility of having clouded emotional judgment. The biggest example of this is clearly Anakin Skywalker, because of his love for Padme, because of his love for his mama. Like all of his attachments, his emotional attachments, those things led him darker, more and more to the dark side. So, while Ahsoka's having these bad premonitions, a lot of it has to do with Sabine's emotional attachment to Ezra. And I mean, of course, obviously, we're going to see what happens with that. But this is going to lead to some issues down the road. Now, of course, we see Sabine with her Mandalorian armor and her weapons, which, by the way, I love the fact that she got this back, because this, again, is what she was brought up with, right? Like, she knows how to be a Mandalorian more so probably than she knows how to be a Jedi, like she's still training for that. But she was, as we saw in the Mandalorian series, from a kid, they will raise these kids up learning, showing them how to use the weapons, showing them how to fight and all of that. So this is where she is most comfortable, clearly, with all of that. But you then see here, Ahsoka prepping her up and really just trying to get her ready for what's to come. But then, boom, we got some droid on droid battle. Shout out to Hu Yang. My man got the paws, put him on there, and he signaled to the rest of them to let them know that something was not working, and something was afoot. And boom, they come out the ship. They take care of all this light work. It's no big deal. They go off, and now they're like, yo, we got to go confront the enemy. And Huang, once again, for a little foreshadowing, he's like, yo, y'all have got to stay together. Whatever happens, you have to stay together. And if they like, of course, we're going to stay together. Why would we ever? So, like, this is just Star Wars, just, of course, letting you know, this, with all this early foreshadowing that, like, yeah, everything's going to be just fine. Just fine indeed. Let's grab this comment real quick. Derek, my man, I have noticed this is season 5 of Rebels. Yes, it is. Which is why I've been saying y'all got to watch Rebels. This is literally a continuation of Rebels. Like, even episode, I want to say 2, kind of remixed just a little bit the end of Rebels final episode. So yes, this is an absolute continuation of Rebels. And once again, that's why y'all gotta watch it. But where do we leave off? Let's see. Huang got them hands. Okay, yeah. Then he said, y'all gotta stay together. But of course, boom, we got all the ships coming in. And this is I believe it was the New Republic ships. showed up with Hera. So Hera, of course, has disobeyed orders to stay put, and she decides to fly out anyway and to go help Ahsoka. She's got also not only Jace with her, but she's also got Carson and some others to come fly out with her to help out. And this is kind of interesting, especially with Carson, because if you recall, he's more willing to help and to go against orders now and to go against, to kind of bend the rules. Because if you recall, he's seen how the New Republic can be unreliable. We saw this in The Mandalorian season 3. Like, this is one of the reasons why he teamed up with Mando, because he was like, yo, man, like maybe the New Republic doesn't always get it right. Maybe they're just not as on top of things as they'd like for people to believe. So for him, when he's like, you know what, this general is talking about doing the right thing, whatever, I'm finna go follow her anyway. So this is why I think, you're gonna see a little bit more of him in the future. And by the way, I love him in Kim's Convenience. He is absolutely great. If y'all have not seen that show on Netflix, definitely recommend it. Let's see. Then we got Morgan. She is using some of that Night Sister magic, and that's you can always tell when that's happening whenever you see that green mist, that green fire. And again, if you don't know about the Night Sisters, gotta watch Rebels and Clone Wars, but definitely in Rebels. Again, this is like another group, another species of people. They're basically Force witches, I guess you could call them. But they use the Force in a very different way, and it is very interesting. If you haven't seen it. So I've been a huge proponent. I understand the light side, I understand the dark side, but I love when we can get more. I love when we can get other sides of people that use the Force. This is what makes Star Wars more interesting, because the movies don't show you stuff like this. The movies don't, but the shows, Clone Wars, Rebels, they show you the other sides of the Force, the other users of the Force. I love it. That's the stuff that makes this super, super interesting. But of course, we got Shin Hati and Merrick. They showed up and they squaring up for a fight. They ready for all the smoke, and of course, Ahsoka and Sabine, they ready for it. They not even scared. They like, man, you ready? Let's go. This ain't gonna be nothing. You see Merrick squaring up. And by the way, I loved this fight. It was a little short, but I loved it anyway. You could already tell that Ahsoka looking at Merrick was like, give me like 2 minutes. Like, she was not even thinking that this dude was going to be a problem at all. But they do get to clashing. Once again, I definitely love the fight. Then, of course, you got the rematch with Shin and with Sabine, and they start going at it. And then, of course, we go back to Ahsoka and Merrick, or Murrock, or whatever you call them. And this whole battle, just absolutely loved it. But this right here, for some of y'all samurai lovers, loved this setup. This almost looked like something straight out of a Japanese anime or something. But she set this man up and slice, and boom, you saw that green smoke. Now, let me just say, with this green smoke, a lot of people was wondering, who is Merrick? Like, what is this dude? Like, is he some secret character from the video game? No. And I love the fact that he was a nobody. Now, he's not a complete nobody. Because of that green smoke, remember what I told y'all about the green fire and all that stuff? That's a Night Sister magic going on, right? Like, and the last time we saw something like that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was also in Rebels, where Darth Maul comes from those Night Sisters, from that planet. His brother was resurrected, was basically made into a zombie or whatever with that green magic, and when he died, that smoke also left him. So this kind of gives the impression that this Inquisitor, who Merrick, he was actually, a resurrected one, like he was somebody, I guess, who was maybe part of him or whatever, but they used that magic to bring him back. So again, I was just happy that he wasn't like some big reveal or whatever, because I started seeing people online being like, man, Merrick, he's really Ezra in disguise, or I don't know, he's a resurrected Anakin. I don't know. People was coming up with these crazy theories, and I'm like, yo, this is how we got into all that Mephisto nonsense with WandaVision and Marvel. Like sometimes y'all just gotta let these Star Wars folks cook. Just let them do their thing. You ain't gotta add your own seasoning, because sometimes, listen, it's almost like if somebody is cooking a dish for you, and you like, man, I sure wish they added a little Lawry's to that. I like a little salt and pepper. Ooh, and guess what? Your mouth, it's gonna start tasting that extra seasoning and all that. And then when they serve you the meal and you eat it, and it's like, well, this isn't as seasoned as I'd like. Well, you wasn't cooking. It's not for you. It's not for you to cook. Let them cook, eat it, and now you don't have them built up expectations. So for me, I'm just glad that they let Merrick just be who he was. He wasn't something super special, but he was a nice little callback to Rebels, because y'all need to go watch Rebels, and that's all it was. That's all it was. So anyway, you see Shin. Oh, by the way, y'all let me know, what did you think about that fight? Did you enjoy it? Was it pleasurable, exciting to watch? Let me know what you thought in the comments. You already see Shin was kind of like, yo, like, you out here killing Inquisitors though? Like, for real? Now, first of all, I'm gonna call foul right here, because I don't know how you in the middle of a lightsaber fight, and I'm in the middle of a fight. I'm talking about Sabine now. I'm in the middle of a fight with somebody who just freshly shanked me earlier, put me in the hospital, and this person that I'm fighting, I'm finna stand there and be distracted while they distracted. You see Shin over here looking to the side this whole time. And when I tell you, I'm watching the episode and I'm like, shoot her, shoot her, shoot her, a slice of hand, do something. Sabine just gonna sit there and was like, yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, you ready to fight? Okay, come on. All right, let's fight again. Like, what are you doing? You in the middle of a whole battle. First of all, she just got done almost slicing you in half in the last episode, and you just gonna give her the courtesy of waiting until she ready? What? Who taught her this? I know there ain't no Mandalorian teachings. I understand the dramatic effect. I get that. I'm just saying it was some nonsense. Just saying. Anywho, we move forward because now Ahsoka leaves to go face off against Balin. And when I tell you, this man came through with all that Thanos energy. You see him just sitting there. You see him just sitting. He like, man, I already know y'all coming. Okay. He was like, listen, all of that and you coming back to me. Look at this. I love it. I love it. Shout out to Ray Stevenson. Rest in peace. But I just love this moment where my man was just sitting there waiting for the smoke. He knows what it is. Okay. Ahsoka shows up. She like, look, we ain't here to talk about me. We here to throw these lightsabers. He was like, look, say less. Okay. And I just loved just all this setup. Then of course we get the battle, we get the fight with them. Definitely something that was long awaited. But I was very, very happy with this. And the only thing I'm a little curious about is like, and I'm still wondering this, like, what exactly does Balin want? Because Ahsoka's like, yo, Thrawn is gonna start a war, and he's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, whatever happens with that war is one thing, but you got to destroy in order to create something new. So I'm still kind of wondering, what is this new thing that he believes in? Because I don't believe that Balin is completely on the dark side, right? Like I know he got the orange saber and he's kind of leaning towards that. I get it. But I don't feel like he's completely dark, you know? So I don't know if y'all have any ideas of like what Balin's actually looking for. What is he actually seeking here? Please let me know in the comments because I'm curious to see where they're trying to go with this. But anyway, let's go ahead with these questions here. Nicole, what you got? I don't remember Sabine being so annoying in Rebels. She wasn't. First, she takes the map when Ahsoka told her not to, lost it after taking a beating, end of episode 4. Yeah, I guess she just grew up and she's just, I don't know. I don't know. This must be the growing pains or something because I don't understand why she's acting like this. I got some comments about that later when we get there, but I'm with you. Like, I don't know why she turned like this. I was not here for it. I was not liking it, but this is where we are right now. Let's see here. Kid Mello, what's going on? Thank you so much for being here. I haven't seen you in a minute. I love this series. Best thing on Disney Plus so far. The fighting scenes are on point. Good story. All blessings, man. Thank you so much. Right back at you with it. But yeah, no, this is definitely like I said, it's on the path. It's on the path of being really good. I'm gonna need them to stick the landing with the last couple episodes, though. You know, but listen, this is doing the work. This is doing the work so far. So I'm with you on that. Derek, what you got? I was thinking if they had turned Rebels into movies, they would have been great instead of those junk ones they did. E-Man, why didn't they do that? Well, for one, the movies, they're doing two different things, right? And I think that, first of all, we saw, especially with Kathleen Kennedy and even J.J. Abrams, they didn't have a plan. They didn't know what they were doing. Like J.J. Abrams was kind of like, yo, after the trilogy and all that stuff, after the Skywalker movie, Rise of Skywalker, after all of that, they was like, man, it probably would have been good to have a plan, you know. But to be fair, I'm fine with the fact that they made these series because they let things breathe better, right? If it's a movie, you only got an hour and a half and you can only do so much in a short amount of time. I mean, we had what, 3 movies with Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, and that did not do him justice. A lot of people got annoyed with Anakin. They thought that his fall, by the time we got to Revenge of the Sith, they thought that it was premature. They thought that it was cheap. They thought that they was riding Hayden Christensen just badly, you know. But when you go to Clone Wars, when you let that breathe over the course of a couple seasons and you see his downfall over time, now it started to restore the character. So I think that different formats, so the movies, they have a different job, right? And the TV episodes, they have a different job too. The movies are there to really tell you about big certain events that happen, but the TV shows are there to really help you flesh things out, like characters or world building and things like that. So I don't think if they made Rebels into a movie, I don't think it would have had the same impact. You know, like if you try to condense it all together, that would be very hard. Now you would need a lot of movies to make it work, but I think they were just too greedy. I think they were too greedy. Like they didn't want to give it that much time, you know. And if you think about it, it would have taken longer to do Rebels as movies compared to doing the TV shows. You know what I'm saying? Like it would have been, you're talking about how long did it take to make a movie? 2 years, you know, give or take, for it to be made and then released. You talking about 6 years, and then now maybe we finally get to the end. So I just don't think that was part of their game plan because they didn't have a game plan in the first place. But thank you so much for that, man. I appreciate you as always. All right, let's get back. Wait. Where are we? There we go. Right? Wait. Let me get back on it. There we go. Okay. Yes, back to the fight. Yes, good fight. Like the fight, they was going back and forth with it. And of course, oh man, look at that. Oh man, listen, Rosario is doing the work, and I love it. Okay, I love it. But she does try to go make a play for the map, and she ends up burning her hand, which was a costly mistake for her. And then of course we got Shin. She's kind of got the upper hand a little bit on on Sabine. And for whatever reason, let's see, do I have it here? Let me see. Oh, I don't have it. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, apparently we saw just for a quick moment, it looked like Sabine might have used a little bit of a force, like a little force push on a old girl. And listen, I don't know if it was a force fart or whatever, but it clearly had no impact. But she did hurry up and use her Mandalorian wrist gun or whatever, and once she started to use those Mandalorian tricks, then Shin was like, all right, I got to get out of here. Ninja vanish, and she pulled that little bomb and was out of there. And by the way, once again, it is important to kind of know that, like, even though you might have had that little, I don't know, force fart or whatever, um, the Mandalorians, a lot of their weapons and a lot of their technology is really to fight against, Jedi, because the Jedi did not like the fact that the Mandalorians were like out there trying to conquer all these worlds and stuff. So, like, over time, that's why you see the Beskar armor and stuff. That Beskar armor, though, that it can work against lightsabers, like it does not, lightsabers cannot cut through it. So a lot of the weapons that are used, they're like anti-Jedi weapons. So it was kind of cool that was happening, that Sabine kind of leaned into that to her advantage. Let's see, Sim, what you got? This was a surprise live tonight. Had missed the notice. Thanks for doing this. No problem, Sim. Thank you so much for being here. I'm trying to make up for lost time. We're gonna try and be back here again. Oh wait, will I be here next Wednesday? Yes, I will be here. Okay, so we're gonna try and pick it up again. But we're gonna definitely get on that back to schedule. Let's see. So what happened? Okay, we got the ninja vanish. And then we go back to so now you had Ahsoka, who's pretty much getting defeated here, but Shin came in the background, and Ahsoka used the force push to knock her out. And man, Balin did not like that at all. I don't know if y'all noticed, but my man came with a whole different type of energy, and he was giving it to her like real bad. And he had her on the edge, was about to go down. And then, of course, Sabine showed up and was like, yo, don't do it, or else I'm going to destroy the map. And he was like, man, I don't care about that map. Forget both of y'all. And knocked Ahsoka off that ledge, and she was gone. She was gone. So Sabine, for whatever reason, I guess she forgot that Balin was a whole Jedi and that guns don't work on Jedi, but she just kept shooting anyway because she just lost her mind. But she goes back to realizing that, yo, if she gets rid of the map, that's going to be her only leverage. However, Balin says, yo, baby girl, put that down. All right, just chill out for a second. He knows how Sabine feels about Ezra. Okay, now he's tapping into her mind. He's tapping into her emotions. He knows that her master didn't trust her. These are all things that really have crippled Sabine over the series so far. He said that, yo, we share a common goal with this map. Let's go to the map together. Let's go ahead and take this little vacay. Me and you, ain't nothing gonna hurt you. You gonna be all good. You could go meet up with your boy Ezra. I'm gonna go meet up with my boy Thrawn, and then we can part our separate ways. It's all good. It's no problem. And Sabine is sitting there thinking and thinking, and she gave up. Now, part of me wanted to think, Was this a Jedi mind trick? Jedi do have that ability to tap into your emotions, to know what you're thinking, to know how you're feeling. And I know it wasn't a traditional, these are not the droids you were looking for. I know it's not a traditional mind trick, but I'm just wondering if there was a little Jedi mind trickery involved with this. Now, I wanted to think that to give more credit to Sabine for this, what seems like an act of betrayal, right? Don't forget, we had that whole foreshadowing earlier in this episode where Ahsoka told her straight up, whatever happens, Thrawn cannot come back. The enemy cannot get this map, and it's better for Ezra to be lost than for Thrawn to come back. But I do believe that this was all just emotions. I think that she sat there and thought about Ezra, and she was just like, nah, I she she gotta ride with him. She has to, right? Like, and the Jedi here, the Balin, he knows this. He feels that, and he used that to his advantage. Now, Shin don't care about none of that and was like, yo, I'm finna choke somebody, but Balin was like, yo, chill out. I gave her my word, and we not gonna do that. Okay, no harm is gonna come to her. And once again, this just kind of gives you that impression that Balin does not seem to be completely on the dark side, and he does apparently have some sense of honor. In this, he's like, yo, like I told her no, you gonna listen and you gonna let her be, and that's exactly what happens. But we got the reinforcements coming in, from Syndulla, but Balin also goes ahead and destroys the map. So now, even though the coordinates are all fully, retrieved and they know exactly where to go get Thrawn, nobody's gonna follow them. And look who is coming along for the ride indeed. Yes, that is Sabine with her whole traitor self. She is now going along with them. And now that hyper ring, hey, this is up and running. Everything, they got what they needed. They good to go. They ready to hit that light speed and they out of here. They are out of here. But now the question is like, yo, what happened to Ahsoka? Like, where is she? Of course, she wakes up, looks like she's in the world, world between worlds. And then, of course, we see Anakin pop up saying, like, hey, what's up, big head? I mean, Snips, whatever, same deal. But that right there was absolutely great. And of course, if y'all don't know where she is or what this is the world between world. Once again, now this you would have had to watch Rebels to know, because this was like right at the end of Rebels. But for those of you that don't know, the world between worlds is pretty much what it is. It's kind of like that dimension that is in between time and space. So time don't really work the same here. You're kind of here, but maybe you're kind of not. So it's definitely its own thing. Now, there were a lot of questions here, right? Like, how did she get here? Because if you watch Rebels, the way Ezra was able to get to the world between worlds was he had to use like an ancient portal. Now, it is possible, maybe, that this planet that they're on, and keep in mind, we see this planet. This planet used to be, I guess, a place where ancient aliens who were in use of the Force in a different way, and you also see maybe this is the home where them Purgles, the space whales, are. So clearly, this place is very special. I'm guessing that Ahsoka might have gone through some sort of portal. Maybe over that cliff is some sort of dimensional rip. Maybe she fell in the water and there's a portal in the water and that's how she got there. Maybe. I think we still need to wait for a little bit more confirmation, perhaps, but maybe it was like a wormhole or something. I don't know. But of course, her finding out that Anakin is there, this throws a whole bunch of questions up there like, yo, is she dreaming? Is this real? Is this a figment of her imagination? What is going on? But of course, we will get into that into episode 5. So let's grab these questions first. Nelson, what you got? Did Ahsoka know Sabine will do anything to see Ezra? I don't think she knew that, but if I'm not mistaken, Jedi can feel stuff, right? Like they can feel, like she probably got a sense that, like, ooh, Sabine is really, really missing Ezra. Like, she's got a feeling that she would be willing to do anything to see Ezra. So I'm thinking that Ahsoka was kind of like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but whatever you feeling about Ezra, we can't let that map go into the wrong hands. So I don't think that she knew it, but I think she had a strong sense that whatever she was feeling about Ezra might compromise the whole mission. And I think you also saw Balin tap into that. Balin also was like, I know what's up. You missing that boy Ezra. Like, so she was really kind of communicating what she was feeling, and these Jedi are able to tap into that. And I don't think she anticipated being betrayed, but I do think she anticipated something potentially bad was going to happen, but we got that foreshadowing earlier. My man Tane, what you got? Appreciate the shout out and prayers. All went well. To me, Ahsoka feels fresh along with newer characters, and every week is keeping me interested to the next. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. I'm glad that everything went well with your surgery. Like I told you, I'm just glad that you were here talking, because I had all the faith and confidence that you was gonna make it. So shout out to you, and shout out to everybody else that also spread all that love and positivity my man's way. But yes, no, you're right. I'm with you on that too. It's definitely got me coming back for more, in terms of what this show is doing. Now, again, I do think that this was actually, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the time where I need y'all rating. Now, let me know, what did you think for episode 4? Scale from 0 to 10. How did you feel? Let me know in the comments down below. But let me just say that I definitely liked the fact that this was not a filler like the last episode, like episode 3. We got multiple lightsaber battles, always a plus with that. um I liked the fact that we got more internal conflict. You definitely got, I mean, the bad guys won in this episode. The bad guys won. I like that, because now when the bad guys win, what you gonna do, heroes? So I like that this kind of gives you that what is it, Empire Strikes Back type of vibe, where it's like, oh man, well, if the Empire strikes and they win in, what's gonna happen in Return of the Jedi? So I like the fact that we got this. It was a nice little turn, didn't feel too predictable. I will say, doing a rewatch, I was like, dang, they called all this stuff out though. Like in the very beginning, they told you what was gonna happen, But and I like the fact that at the end of this, you threw me a curveball that I did not see coming. I didn't know we was gonna come back to the world between worlds. Like, I thought that was a Rebels thing, and like, what we gonna do with this? This throws a lot. Because listen, there was some things in here where, like, are y'all about to do some time travel? Are y'all about to undo some things? Was Anakin a Force ghost? Like, I got a lot of questions here, right? So anyway, I think that the action was good, definitely good suspense, better storytelling, and I like the themes that they were going into with all this in terms of, falling victim to your feelings versus the main objective, or the main mission. So I think I might have to give this episode an eight. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Is it a 9? Could it be a 9? I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna be generous. I mean, listen, y'all gave me double the lightsaber. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, I don't think it needs an 8.5, but I'm gonna give it a 9. So let's see where the people are at. Eight and a half. Okay. 9, 7.5. 8. Okay. 7.5. 8, 10, 8, 9, 9.75. 8. Wait, there we go. 8, 8.9, 8, 8.5, 7.5, 9, 8.5 to a 9. Yeah, I was kind of caught there too. Whatever, it's fine. 6.5, 9, 9, 9. Yeah, Mara, don't do it. 9, 9. What? You watched it? 8.5 too? Snaps. Watch out now. 9, 10, 9, 9, 8.9, 8.5. And what else we got? 10, 8, and 8. Okay, cool. So overall, we liked it. Overall, solid episode. All right. Now listen, we done. We're finally here. Okay, we're here now. Let us get to the last one here. Oh, hold on, we got another thing here. Tegan's birthday was on the 2nd. She's 13 now. Wow. Well, bro, you should have told us, man. I didn't know. Now I feel bad because we so late. Please tell Miss Tegan happy belated birthday from all of us out here. My goodness, 13. Golly, time is just flying, man. That is crazy. But thank you so much for letting me know. And please let us know, let her know that we said happy belated birthday. All right, let's get to episode 5. Now, this was it. This was the banger. Now, let me just tell y'all something real quick. I remember what was it? It was I don't know if I shared this. I think I shared it on my Facebook or something. But anyway, this episode, now after that build up, it was said that Dave Filoni himself, the other half of the money team, was actually directing this episode, right? And I recall back in Clone Wars and in Rebels, when Dave Filoni would actually direct the episodes, they were usually the best episodes, the most memorable episodes in the whole series. So, when I found out that he was going to direct this episode after that reveal with Anakin and all that, I was like, oh no, they finna cook with this. They finna do some things with this episode. And it was funny because Star Wars now, they actually put this episode in theaters. They went ahead and they held like it was like a fan appreciation screening, and in 10 different cities across the US they were out there playing this episode. Now I believe you got a chance to see it maybe an hour earlier than everyone else, and I was gonna go. I was thinking about, I was about to go, but when I found out where the theater was at, like, it was like an hour drive beyond where I already work. So it's already a good minute for me to drive to work. But then it was like another hour even further. And I was like, man, look, if y'all not passing out real lightsabers, I don't need to go to this. It sounds great. It sounds great, but I ain't finna make that drive. But I will say that, like, if it was closer, I would have gone to see this episode in theaters. Because it did look like it was theater worthy. But at the same time, if I would have been like, yo, y'all should have played episode 4 and 5 in the theaters, because I think it would have been a nice combination rather than going to the theaters only for 50 minutes. But either way, I just want to throw that out there. So Johnny, you did see it in the okay. So I'm glad you good. I'm glad you had a good time with it. I was gonna be there with y'all. I was gonna be there, but I was like, nah, it's too far. I can't be driving an hour and a half just to drive an hour and a half back home. Not just for that. Y'all would have to give me a little bit more. But all right, let's get into episode 5 because this is juicy. All right, so we start off with Hera of course, as usual, showing up too late, and chasing Chopper style. We also see Chopper also arriving. And of course, Huang. I felt bad. My man was actually feeling sad, because he found Sabine's helmet and was like, man, I told them to stay together and they didn't want to stay together. But forget all that. We have to jump right back to Anakin and Ahsoka. And the first thing this man says to her is like, yo, you look old. He said, you look old and you lost a fight. By the way, let me just say, I thought that the de-aging that they used here on Anakin, I thought it was actually pretty good. I know some people was kind of, not feeling it online and stuff. I thought they did it. Listen, they did a better job with de-aging him compared to not de-aging him in Obi-Wan, listen, I understand, time has passed, shout out to Hayden Christensen and all that, but like the de-aging, I thought they did a good job. I thought he kind of needed it because when Anakin was Anakin, he was younger. The prequels was like 20 years ago. This man is like in his 40s. It's okay to de-age him. Y'all ain't have to do, nothing special. Just use your magic, But anyway, I liked it. I thought it was well done. But he did go ahead and tell her that, like, yo, I'm here to finish your training, and again, somebody can correct me if you like, but I believe that finishing a Jedi's training probably includes, I don't know, having them have a fuller understanding of the Force or maybe their purpose, and when she was like, what you mean finish my training? Like, what you finna teach me? And he was like, look, the lesson here, you got to figure out, do you want to live or do you want to die? Okay, so that's the lesson, and they going at it. So now we go back, and they are still looking for Sabine and for Ahsoka. And Jason was just sitting there and he was just like, yo, like there's something about the water. He can feel it. And then he's like, yo, can you hear it? I can hear something in the water. In the meantime, Carson's like, yo, the fleet, the senators, they coming. Like they don't like what you did. They coming, And she was like, look, whatever, we'll deal with that later. And Jason was like, yo, can you hear the lightsabers? Listen to the lightsabers in the water. And as you can see here, Hera was taking a minute, and after a second, she could actually hear them. Now, this is one of the clues, I guess, where I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if Hera, who's a non-Force user, if she can hear this, then that gives me the impression that this whole world between worlds, or wherever Ahsoka is, it's not something in her mind. Like, she's in an actual place. And if a non-Force user can actually maybe tune into the Force just a little bit and hear it, then that lets me know that, okay, whatever Ahsoka is going through right now is actually happening. Like, she's physically somewhere, she's physically having a fight. And I think that can help us make sense of other things that are happening during that, her time with Anakin. Because if people outside of this place can have some sort of interaction with it in terms of just hearing it, then I think that means that, yeah, what's happening right now is real, it's physical, and it's not something that we could just kind of be like, oh, well, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't happen. Nah, like this is actually happening, right? So anyway, Anakin cuts the floor, and this brings Ahsoka right back to Clone Wars. And yo, this right here, once again, why you need to watch Clone Wars, but we get a nice flashback to one of her first battles. And this is basically her training, and she's like, yo, I don't, what you talking about? He's like, yo, this is your training. Being in the middle of a war and fighting with the clones, against the, in this battle, that is the assignment, And as they're going through this time skip, and again, by the way, they even got the haircut down. I love it. But while they're doing this, you see Ahsoka is here, and in her younger self, she's like becoming more empathetic with the pain of the soldiers that she's seeing. And this is really just her seeing the effects of war. She sees the loss and all the hurt that happens, and she's starting to blame herself. And this is pretty much kind of like what do they call it, survivor's guilt, like where you survived a traumatic event and now you feel bad that other people were lost in that whole thing, and it really bothers her. But like this is where Anakin kind of comes in, and he's like, yo, like Jedi are supposed to be keepers of peace, right? Like that's what their role is. But if you're in a war, you got to be a soldier. And he's like, yo, this is what he's here to teach her. He's like, yo, I got to show you how to be a soldier. Yes, but you do have to be a keeper of peace, right? And she's like really concerned because she's like, yo, like, is this all I'm about to be? If I have a student, if I have a Padawan, if I have an apprentice, am I just going to teach him how to fight? And this is the internal battle that Ahsoka is actually fighting with herself while she's here, and this is the thing that she really has to confront with herself during this time. Now they are, outside of this place, they are continuing to look for her. And Jace is telling her, like, yo, you got to look a little bit deeper, or I'm sorry, a little bit lower, so they do start to take the ships and look lower, closer to the water, in order to find her. Now going back to the war or whatnot, you see Ahsoka here, and she's a little bit older. She is fighting, and now this is something that's also pretty interesting because while she is older here, she is commanding her own troops this time, and we actually see her. This is like a battle on Mandalore, and you see an actual Mandalorian with some of those spikes. Now, that spike helmet, again, you need to watch Clone Wars and Rebels for this, but this is when the Mandalorians were under Darth Maul's rule, right? So he managed to beat the Mandalorian commander at the time. He was able to get the dark saber, and whoever has the dark saber rules Mandalore. So for a little bit, he was the ruler of Mandalore, and some Mandalorians actually followed Darth Maul, and you could see that with their helmets. Now, this caused like a whole fraction amongst the Mandalorians, and for some of y'all that don't know, this is kind of sort of a prequel for the Mandalorian, because now you're going to get a whole nother order of Mandalorians that were under Darth Maul. You're going to get like another offspring with Death Watch. And Death Watch, what they used to do, they used to go and capture some of the children and adopt them into becoming Mandalorians, which is what happened with Din Djarin in Mandalorian. So again, if you want to know why Din is the way he is, you got to watch Rebels, because Rebels kind of explains what happened with the Mandalorians that created his situation right as a kid. And this is really just a small callback to all of that. Then we also get another fun little cameo with Rex. In case y'all don't know, that's pretty much the commander of a lot of the clones during this time. And yeah, it was pretty nice to see Rex come back here and make that fun little cameo during this time, because he was a very, very big part of not only the Clone Wars but also Rebels as well. But now this is where it gets interesting. Anakin comes in and says he doesn't recognize this battle. And he said, and Ahsoka was like, well, this is the part where we kind of parted ways. This is where we split up. And this kind of gives me the impression that Anakin at this point is not a figment of Ahsoka's imagination. He's not, some like dream or whatever, because he does not have this information. So that lets me know that this Anakin that we're seeing is the real Anakin, or at least I strongly believe that this is the real Anakin that we're seeing, and again, because this is the world between worlds or whatever, time does not work the same way, and people connected to the Force, I'm assuming maybe they can jump in and out of here. I don't know. Maybe it works different for Force Ghosts. Maybe Force Ghosts can jump in this place easier than others. I don't know. But either way, the fact that this Anakin, this personification of him, whatever, the fact that he did not have this knowledge, I think kind of shows that he is an independent entity or being separate from Ahsoka. And that's a good thing, right? Because what that means is that this really is Anakin teaching Ahsoka something. It's not Ahsoka just coming to some internal conclusion and all of a sudden she figured it out. No, she's really being taught by her master in this situation. And I think that that is so good. Not only for this character, but just for the show, just to show a different level of the Force or whatnot. But here's the problem. When it comes to Ahsoka, she is so concerned about being nothing more than just a warrior. She's like, yo, am I like just a tool of destruction? Am I is my legacy that of death and war? Like, is that all that there is to me? And Anakin's like, yo, there's more to you than that, because there's more to me than that. Like, you're not only about war and destruction and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, but there's more to you too, because I know what happens to you. I know that you basically go off and become, what you become. And by the way, I loved this callback when they did this. Like, shout out to them. Like, they showed you Anakin going into war, and they show you the little flash right there. Just shout out to Dave Filoni with the little hints. The little hint, I mean, and just the cinematography. Like, this is just so beautiful to me. But this is what she's talking about. Ahsoka knows how Anakin went from this to that. And Anakin was like, wait, what? That little old thing? What? When I had that little moment as Darth Vader, you tripping on that? Oh, hell no. Like, you still don't get it. And this is why he was like, all right, we're going to have to start this lesson all over again, because you're sitting here thinking that was all I was. Now, I believe the reason why he had to start this over was Ahsoka in her mind kept thinking that all she's going to do is be about war and fighting and killing and all of that. And even though Anakin kept telling her, like, nah, there's more to this than just that for you. You're not just about that, because it was more for me. I think, and again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, she might not know what Anakin actually did later. For her, I think Ahsoka primarily knows that obviously Anakin turns into Darth Vader. And of course, as Darth Vader, he rules and does all this bad stuff or whatever. But I don't think she knows that he's the one that actually brought balance to the Force. Maybe Luke is the one that's getting all this credit, but you know, Anakin's the one that defeated Palpatine. Anakin is the one that technically fulfilled the prophecy by balancing the Force. Yes, Anakin was, going to the dark side or whatever, but he had to get rid of Palpatine to like really bring it all back into balance. So, when he says that there was more to me than just war and stuff, he was telling the truth, because he did those bad things, but he also did the really good thing in getting rid of the emperor. So anyway, Ahsoka has not seen this. She hasn't realized this within herself. So because of that, that's why he was like, we got to do this all over again. Since all you see is me being all dark and bad and stuff, I'm about to show you something. So boom, this is why he busted out the red saber and was like, yo, we got to start this lesson all over again. Because again, she did not realize that there was more to this. And he was like, all right, you got to choose once again. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Because she was so focused on his dark side. He was like, boom, you want dark side? I'm going to give it to you. So this is where he knocks her back into another dimension. And oh my gosh, I love this so much. Look at this. Just Dave Filoni out here cooking. This man is slow roasting this episode. You see this? You see this? Oh, I loved it so much. But anyway, Anakin said that, like, yo, you lack conviction. And what did he mean by that? He was like, yo, you over here trying to play both sides and do all of this stuff. You need to figure out who you want to be and what you want to do. And I thought it was very fitting that he would say this in this place because they are in a world between worlds, right? So maybe that was like a little play on things. But either way, I loved how they used the lightsaber in this case too, because you see them fighting, you see him getting over on her, but then you also see Anakin's light, his eyes start to shift. This is going back to Revenge of the Sith, of course, where he's starting to make his turn. But I loved how they used the lightsaber when she finally started to get the best of him. And it was because she started to get her resolve. She started to get her conviction. And look at how they use the light of the lightsaber to make her eyes look as though she was going to turn to the dark side. I love this. This, like, that right there. That's just smart. That's smart intellectual television right there. Like, you don't have to go with the special effects. You can use that to foreshadow something and to communicate something deeper. That's subtext, right? That's how you can tell something without being overly over the top and explaining it. So I love the fact that they were showing that, like, yeah, if you lack conviction, or whatever, you could be like me if you want to. You could come to the dark side like I did if you want to, or you could choose differently. And she did. We actually sees that she finally made a choice, and when she finally got some conviction, he was like, you did it. You got it. That was the lesson, because she was like, yo, I choose to live. She made the choice, and now she's fully focused. Now she's over her survivor's guilt. Once she did that, he was gone, because he served his purpose in terms of, training her. Now, this is the interesting thing. We find out once she's there that she's now back underwater in some way. And I couldn't help but to believe that with some of the religious similarities that Star Wars does kind of pull from, this kind of reminded me of Ahsoka potentially maybe being baptized through water. So, for those of you that don't know, in Christian religion, if you're baptized, it's kind of like being born again. You have to go underwater and you come out, and it's a representation of like your old self being washed away and your new self coming up and being born into a new person, a new creation. And I kind of got those vibes from Ahsoka again, because she's being submerged into the water, and then she's fully submerged. She wakes up, and now she's taken out. And again, I mean, I'm just seeing this. This looks just like something from church, but she's now having like a new revelation. She's found herself. She feels like something new. And once again, for those of you that recall from Clone Wars, Ahsoka already had a near-death experience, right? And she was brought back to life by the Morai. Now, this is difficult to explain, one, without spoiling things, even though it is kind of spoiled already. And two, because if you have not watched this episode in Clone Wars, it's not going to make a lot of sense. So you do need to watch Clone Wars to get this, but I'll try to help it. I'll try to do what I can with this. Ahsoka and Anakin went to this planet, and in this planet, it's kind of sort of where the force collides, maybe. But you had like this holy trinity, so to speak, where you had the father, the sister, and the brother, kind of like Father, Son, Holy Spirit, whatever. So like these beings were kind of like aspects of the force. You know, the brother represented the dark side, the sister was like the light side, and the father was kind of like the one that balanced them all together. But long story short, Ahsoka was in trouble. She was about to die, and the sister from the light side used some of her essence or whatever to like bring Ahsoka back to life. Now, again, I feel like this is kind of where Star Wars is getting into maybe their spiritual, religious side of things. And if you think about it, if the daughter was supposedly the let's say the representation of the light side, I'm under the impression that this could be a major clue, maybe even from Dave Filoni, because keep in mind, Ahsoka was an original character by Dave Filoni, right? I think that this could be a major clue. Like, you bring her back to life with the spirit of the Morai or whatnot. And on top of that, you also have her have this almost spiritual journey and a spiritual rebirth, maybe through baptism. Dare I say, this could be the setup of Ahsoka being positioned to be the most important character in Star Wars since Anakin. Because Anakin, he also had some Christ-like background. You know, there was this whole mystery behind whether or not, like, we never knew who Anakin's daddy was, but there was like this idea that he was born through like the what is it, the conception, the immaculate conception or whatever, where he was born with the force or through the force. So in other words, the force went through his mama, got some things going, and boom, we got baby Anakin that way. So Anakin was already kind of like a Christ-like figure, and now we're kind of seeing Ahsoka go through this journey where she almost died, but then the Holy Spirit kind of went into her, and then now she's getting baptized through the water, and she's having all these, new spiritual beginnings and stuff. So a lot of stuff is going on with Ahsoka right now, but I'm trying to think. I think she might be getting set up for something great, something big. So either way, Dave Filoni might be getting kind of sneaky with this. He might be getting a little sneaky with how he's setting up Ahsoka for something greater than maybe even Anakin ever even accomplished. Which, by the way, I'm totally here for, because I'm tired of Skywalkers, and I'm fine if somebody else want to take that baton and take it to another level. I'm fine with that. But y'all let me know, what did you think about that whole spiritual journey? What did you think about Ahsoka meeting up with Anakin, the lesson that had to be learned? Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and any theories that you might have had. Yeah. um yeah, this is that's a good comparison. Like, Ahsoka, listen, Ahsoka did coming out clean. She came out real clean, right? We'll get to that in a second. But I have to talk about this because this kind of bothered me. Ahsoka came back, and that's great. Okay, that's great. I want y'all to notice something here. They showed us Ahsoka with no headband. Let me tell you something. I have seen Ahsoka grow up in Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, all of that. I ain't never seen her without her headband. Now, I'm just gonna say this was hella weird. I had no idea that a simple little headband was gonna be so weird. I don't recall even seeing her mama, because they showed her mama. I don't recall them ever showing none of them without something covering up their head like that. I could be wrong, but I just don't recall it. I'm saying this is weird because when I saw this, I was like, ugh, what her ears at? I know she's an alien. I know that. I'm just saying, this, you know what this was like? This was kind of like when you meet somebody online and all you see is them in makeup and filters. And then all of a sudden you see them in real life and they look extra regular. And you just like, I wasn't ready. You know? And listen, let that be a lesson just in terms of social media. Show your whole self. You know, don't be hiding stuff. Because when people see you in real life, you're gonna catch them off guard. You know, if all I see is the filter, and then I see you in real life and you ain't got no filter, it's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment. Okay. I'm just saying. So I don't know about y'all, but I felt weird. If y'all felt weird, let me know. I'm just saying it was kind of weird, you know, and it does not help that for the longest time, you know, Rosario Dawson has always been easy on the eyes. So it was always kind of weird. I'm like, okay, Rosario, I see you now. I know you're an alien, but I see you. But now you're doing the weird thing, and now with the hair, and I'm like, I'm just all types of confused. I'm all types of. I don't like it. I don't like it. So this, I don't even like putting this picture up. To be honest with you, I don't like it. But whoo, when they put that headband back on, I was like, okay, okay, we back in business. I did not know that one little piece of headwear was gonna change everything, but it did. Anyway, that's just me. If I'm weird about it, I don't care. Whatever. I'm just being honest with y'all. It was weird. It was weird. All right, now let's get back to business. All right, so we find out, or she finds out now that Sabine is gone. The map is gone. It's destroyed, and yeah, now she got to figure out what to do. They do meet up. Her and Jace finally meet up, and it's kind of crazy because Jace is asking all the important questions. He's like, yo, who was you fighting? Where were you at? What was going on? But of course, in true fashion, somebody had to come through and block him. Somebody had to be here, an inadvertent hater, and tell this little boy, nah, we don't want to know the real questions and answers. Why don't you go play inside the spaceship? And then, to make things even worse, Jace is a whole Force user. This man, his daddy was a whole Jedi. He's asking the droid Hu Yang, who literally taught other Jedi how to be Jedi and how to make lightsabers. He was like, yo, can you teach me how to do this? Can I make a lightsaber? They said no. Why can't nobody flourish? You in a whole world where you got people out here trying to get the evil empire together. Force users don't just come out of nowhere. You got a kid that want to learn and you don't want to show him nothing. Why? Why? This is why when Kylo Ren comes up and Snoke comes up later and they ransack all of y'all and create their new empire, this is why I don't feel bad for y'all. Because y'all have the opportunity to train up some new Jedi, get some more people on the light side, and y'all just want them to go play on the ship. This is why y'all get conquered all the time. This is why the Emperors and the Sith come around and whoop y'all tails, because y'all don't even want to let the kid play with a lightsaber. He got the Force, he got the juice, but y'all gonna spend the time on Sabine and can't even move a cup. I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of it. Let that boy play with the lightsabers. Anyway. So, new rule. There needs to be a new rule. If there are ever 2 or more people that have the Force and they talking, if you ain't got the Force, shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear nobody that ain't got connection with the Force interrupting people that have the Force and they having a whole conversation about things that we need answers to. Why are you interrupting? Why are you blocking? We need to know these things. I still need to know what the hell was she talking about with Anakin? And Hera gonna come in and be like, no, we just gonna play. We just gonna talk about some other stuff. Why? That Hera, we didn't come for this. Two Force users talking, don't nobody interrupt them. No more. That needs to be a Star Wars rule. All right, I'm sorry. Let me. That bothered me. That bothered me. Anyway, Ahsoka is now back on the scene, and she believes that Sabine might have left an impression on that destroyed map. And she's going to use the same ability that she did back in episode 2, where she used a force echo. And this echo basically helps her recreate the scene, maybe hear some voices, and just kind of get an idea of what happened in this situation. So that way she can kind of like get an idea of what happened to Sabine. Now, I do have a question because I'm wondering, did Sabine know that Ahsoka could do this? Or was Sabine just weak and decided to follow because of her feelings with Ezra? Now, I still kind of lean towards the latter. I guess I was kind of hoping. I was hoping, like, you know what, man, maybe Sabine wasn't that dumb. Maybe Sabine wasn't that weak. Maybe Sabine said, you know what? I can't fight Balin and Shin. Best thing I can do is let myself get captured and my master can come find me. I was hoping that was the case, but I got the feeling that it wasn't. I don't think Sabine was that smart. Maybe she is. Maybe she is. I don't know. No, I don't think she is. I think she just gave up because it was Ezra, but whatever. Anyway, Ahsoka was able to determine, that yes, Sabine left, and that she did go with the enemy, but Hera, she's got to go deal with the New Republic that's coming, because they basically coming to scoop them up, because they still being some haters, but Ahsoka's like, oh, hold on, wait a minute now. And she sees some of the space whales out there, and now she's got an idea. So going back to the ship, Senator Mon Mothra basically says, or Martha says that Hera, you about to lose your rank. Like you about to get suspended. You're not gonna be a general no more. And if you do want everything to work out, you're going to need Ahsoka to come back and testify on your behalf. So right now, this is kind of putting this is putting Hera in a bad position because Ahsoka ain't finna go back. They got to go find Sabine and stop Thrawn from coming back. So clearly, this is definitely going to be a bad situation for her. But Ahsoka is coming back and she's like, yo, I got a plan. And just like it was mentioned earlier, do y'all see my girl in the all white? Ooh, look at Ahsoka, boy. She is out here clean. That's that Gandalf white clean. Okay. You see how she went and cleaned up? Whoo! Okay, I see the drip. I see that force drip. She came out that water, was like, look, I can't be wearing that old gray scrubs that I used to wear. Now we got to come out here fresh. Okay. We on the light side for real. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Now she goes ahead and they're meeting all the Purgil that are out there. And then of course they meet like one of the biggest ones that was out here, and Ahsoka was like, bam, we got to go talk. And she decides to go out there and meet it. And she's finally going out there to talk with it in a very similar way that was done before in Rebels. And Jace basically talks about this, and he was like, oh man, I remember the stories that you told me when Ezra did the same thing before, right before he had the Purgil take him and Thrawn to some other place. So basically, this is a callback once again to Rebels. Now we also have the New Republic that has come to basically block everything, and Carson is doing his best job to stall them. in the meantime. But Ahsoka is now communicating with this intergalactic Moby Dick. And, he was like, I bet I know what y'all need. Come on through. Opened up his mouth and they went ahead, put the ship inside. They're resting. And the crazy thing is, Hugh Ang was like, yo, where are we going? And she was like, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's better than staying here. And boom, they out of here. And that was episode 5. Woo! Woo, woo, woo. My. Oh my. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. That was a lot. Man, let me grab these questions because I got some thoughts. Derek, what you got? E-Man Taken said thank you. You're still one of the only one that says her name right without hearing it. You made her smile. Very, very happy to hear that. Thank you so much. And like I said, happy birthday to that young lady. My man Ron, what is going on? Singing, ain't nobody dope as she. She's so ain't nobody dope as she. She just so fresh and so clean. Yes, my girl is out here shining with that light side white. I love to see it. Okay, see, I see some of y'all ahead of me. Y'all already know the routine. I love it. Yeah, this is the point where I need y'all rating for episode 5 of Ahsoka. I think this is clearly one of the better episodes, easily, hands down. I mean, you got Anakin back in there, but it was not. This is what I be talking about when I say like cameos should not be cheap. Don't make a cameo superficial. If you're gonna make a cameo work, you have to make the cameo work with the theme and with the story. And my goodness, if it works for the character, even better. And that was a perfect example of having a cameo matter. So in my opinion, this was definitely handled appropriately. I love the themes that were done here. We got a lot of the religious or spiritual dynamics going on. That definitely worked to this is Star Warsing the way Star Wars needs to Star Wars. Okay, like Star Wars, yes, we need our lightsaber battles. Yes, we need some spaceships. But my goodness, when you sit here and you use the Force like this, and you're giving us some fights, and you're bringing the cameos, and you're doing, it's not even a, was that a Force ghost? I don't know. Listen, nobody understands the Force, okay, and that's okay. Because now that means it's more stuff for us to learn. It's more stuff for us to dig into. And this is exactly what I want from Star Wars. You got a big old galaxy with a whole bunch of questions. And y'all giving us little things here and there. And this is what I love. So, scale from 1 to 10. And by the way, the cinematography, my God. The little flashbacks with Anakin and going with the lights and the eyes and the Darth Vader stuff. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this episode. I'm in a mighty generous mood. I think I'm gonna give it a 9.5. I didn't want to. I was thinking it was gonna be a 9, but it did way more good things than not. And the first time I watched it, I'll say that it didn't really hit me. Like I loved it, but it didn't hit me. But it was like as I was rewatching it, prepping for this, and I started getting, I was like, yo, this is actually kind of deep. Like this is, oh snaps, they really went in with this episode. So I'm gonna give it a 9.5. That's where I'm gonna go with it. But it's not about what I just think. Like, what do y'all think? Y'all the people here. Let's see what y'all think. Oh, y'all better than me. 10, 10. 10, 10, 8, 11, 9, 10, 10,000, 9.4, 9, 8.5, 10, 10. Yo, my man Angel gave it a 15. Angel don't give out 15s. Not that easy. That's a tough critic too. Okay. 9.25, 10, 9.5, 8.5 to a 9. Okay. 9.567. All right. 10, 9, 9.25, 10, 10, 9. you ain't finished it. 8.5. Okay. Okay, at least you tried. At least you tried. 9.5. 9.5. Let's see. 9.20. 9. All right. Wait, I think I got a couple more. There we go. 8.5. 10, 9, 10, 9, 20, 9.5. All right. So I think it is very easy to say this was one of the best episodes. I think this was probably the best episode so far. Now, I am still going to be hesitant. I'm not riding that train yet in saying this was the best thing Star Wars. I'm not going there yet. I need to see what y'all do with them last couple episodes. That's all. So before I go crowning Ahsoka, I need to see what y'all do with these last episodes. Can you stick the landing? We'll have to wait and see. Let's grab these comments real quick. Nathan, what you got? 9.5. I seen a lot of y'all trashing her attitude. Dave had y'all on a hook, so you feel this character arc. No, I mean, I don't know why. If it's Ahsoka's attitude, I mean, keep in mind this is part of the job. Like I know she's not like a full-on Jedi or whatever officially, but this is part of her training. Like Jedi are not emotionally attached. That's what they're literally trained to be like from kids. So for a long time here, and she's allowed to have a little PTSD. She went through a whole war and she was having survivor's guilt. She was like, yo, people dying left and right. So I don't fault her for her emotions or her attitude. I thought that it was fine. I thought it was on point. And again, it gave her something to grow from. You can't just be like one way all the time. Sometimes you got to have some bumps in the road. This is one of the reasons why I don't have a problem with what happened with Luke in Last Jedi, because to me, I was like, people had this weird expectation that Luke was supposed to be this happy-go-lucky Jedi that always did the right thing and always made the right. No, Luke was never perfect. Luke made a lot of mistakes. And to have Luke have a moment where he kind of faltered a little bit, I'm like, that's fine. It's okay for Luke to kind of mess up here and then later he gets it. That's okay. You want your heroes to have faults and then overcome them later. But anyway, Nelson, thank you so much. Ahsoka really made up for Secret Invasion. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair to say as well, because Secret Invasion had us going for a minute. But yeah, I listen, I've been scarred too many times with good shows that just don't end up right there, at the end. But anyway, guys, that is it. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I could cram those 3 episodes in one, but we did it. We got to see what happens now with episode 6. I am definitely looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing. Now, there was one thing I have a question of, because in the trailer for this season, I just posted this online. They showed us an image of General Thrawn. I really, really hope that whatever they just showed us in that trailer, I hope that does not mean that they actually find Thrawn. And the reason why I say that is because we're 5 episodes in. The whole point of these 5 episodes, or one of the major points, is Thrawn alive? Is Ezra alive? Will they find them? Will they not? We don't know. So I'm like, man, I really hope Star Wars didn't spoil one of the biggest mysteries of this show by showing us Thrawn in, the actual trailer. Now, I'm hoping that what we saw in the trailer might have been a flashback or something like that. But I really hope that they didn't spoil it that way for us, because that would be kind of disappointing. Because right now, I don't know if Ezra's alive. I don't know if Thrawn is alive. And, to me, it'd be kind of interesting if they find out that maybe they both die. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's just one concern. Anyway, y'all let me know if you have any other thoughts, theories, and maybe something I missed. Let me know in the comments down below. I want to thank y'all so much for taking the time to hang out with me for all 3 of these. I promise y'all new people, we only do one episode at a time. But we will be back in action next week to talk about episode 6. We will have the live this Friday, 7 o'clock. Make sure 7 Central Time. So make sure you tune in for that. We do have finally some good news or some interesting news to talk about in the movie world. But yeah, outside of that, guys, you know the routine. Wash your hands, wash your butts. Make sure you have a great rest of your week. If I don't see you, I'll holler at y'all later. But yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all Friday and next week after that. All right, guys. Peace out.